First off, I want to say I know I'm late to the ball. This trade happened a while ago, like last Friday or something. And I want to just change the format. For one, I just couldn't miss about it. Could not talk about it because Timberwolves are my team. But I'm gonna change the format to whatever news happens in the NBA. I'm gonna start talking about it, and that's how I'm gonna start from now on. If I get a little base and people want to see more, I can show more. I also might dabble in the football stuff. We will see, depending how all this goes. For right now, I want to talk about the biggest trade of the offseason, the biggest move of the offseason. Quite frankly, the biggest news of the offseason because Kevin Durant will not be leaving. Let me just throw that one out there right now. And it is Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves. And this is why it will work. First off, Rudy Gobert gets a lot of unfair criticism for his performance in the playoffs. He's not perfect in the playoffs, but one thing the Jazz don't have that the Wolves have plenty of is perimeter defense and good team defenders. We got guys like Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Taurean Prince, Kyle Anderson, who all play really good perimeter defense. Now, Taurean Prince specifically is more of a team defender. He's not much of a one-on-one guy. Kyle Anderson, team defender. He can guard one-on-one for some positions. And Jaden McDaniels can guard 1 through 3 very well. As when he starts getting to the 4 and 5s with his size, he starts to struggle. But 1 through 3 very well. And same with Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards guarded Ja Morant in the playoffs very well. People gave Pat Bevel all the credit, which he deserves a lot of it. But Jaden McDaniel or Anthony Edwards definitely guarded Ja Morant and guys like that very well. Steph Curry included. He guards a lot of guards, 2, 3s, at a very high level. So that perimeter defense, Rudy Gobert cannot be isolated out and have to close out on all these shooters or whatnot. He can kind of stick to paint or stick to a shooter if they really go too small and not expect to get his team blown by right away. And something that's not being talked about is just how big the Timberwolves are. I understand they have 6'10" McDaniels, 7-foot Towns, 7'1" Gobert, but I'm talking about wingspans. Let's get the starting 5 wingspan out there. D'Angelo Russell has a 6'10" wingspan. Anthony Edwards, 6'11" wingspan. McDaniels, 7-foot wingspan. Cat, 7'1" wingspan. Rudy Gobert, 7'9" wingspan. If your smallest wingspan, the starting 5 is 6'10", that is a lot of passing lanes to be clogged up. That's great size. And again, that's something the Jazz did not have. The Jazz did not have the defense and the talent defensively that the Timberwolves do. And another thing is with this, a lot of people are questioning Cat's ability to guard the 4s and guard small ball lineups. Listen, I'm going to show a couple clips. And it's only going to be 2. I don't want to make this whole thing about Karl-Anthony Towns, but if you really want to see more, I can show you more. But I'm going to show you 2 clips. Karl-Anthony Towns can guard the perimeter pretty well. He's pretty mobile. He's a little stiff. People knock him for that, but he moves his feet very well and can just simply flat out guard at the 3-point line at a pretty high level for a 7-footer. Now, if you really think about it, how many small ball 4s in the league are really going to attack Towns? And my first thought was Brandon Ingram on the Pelicans when he plays the 4, but I would just put McDaniels on Ingram with him being around the same size and have Towns help off Herb Jones. If Herb Jones wants to make 8 threes in the game, game over. That's fine. Tip your cap. But I'm not too worried about Towns just getting isolated all day and losing. And quite frankly, outside the Warriors, this league is still primarily a pick and roll league. So there's not many offenses like the Warriors who just run some swing and handoff offense through their power forward. It just you don't see it too much. You see it with the Nuggets and Nuggets and Jokic. But besides that, the Warriors are the only team that really runs a swing offense like that. And that's the most criticism I see. I see how would the Wolves beat the Warriors? I hate to have this news flash, but the Warriors have won 4 of the last 8 finals. How is anyone going to beat the Warriors? Unless it's LeBron or the Warriors are hurt, no one has beat the Warriors. So I don't mind them going with this twin tower look, I guess, and taking a shot because no one has figured out a way to beat the Warriors. And if they can beat everyone else but the Warriors, the Timberwolves are back to relevance, which they've really never been in my lifetime. So that's a big one for a trade. And now offensively is where I see more questions at. And this is what I'll say. Gobert by itself is a lob threat. This is a stat that I did not know until a couple days ago. The Timberwolves all last season had 6 total alley-oop dunks. Rudy Gobert by himself, if I got the number correct, had 44 alley-oop dunks. That's a new element to the offense for an offense that has already had the most points per game. This will be an efficient offense. And another thing is I see about spacing. I know not everyone's a Timberwolves watcher who would want to be, honestly. But if you know Jared Vanderbilt, he supplied no spacing. The biggest thing about Vanderbilt was they played completely off him, and Vanderbilt would cut from the corner in. And what's going to be the difference? Rudy Gobert, instead of cutting from the corner in, will be setting high screen and rolls, and will start from the top of the key and roll in. And speaking of pick and rolls, this is D'Lo's ideal partner. Now, Rudy Gobert is not as athletic as Jared Allen, but he has the same skill set and play style as Jared Allen, where D'Angelo Russell thrives with that alley-oop threat, those little swing alley-oops, hook shot alley-oops, whatever you want to call them, that type of thing. So I think this will really unlock D'Lo. And this is his contract year, so he better be unlocked as well. I don't know if the Wolves re-sign him. If they do, they're going to be so far in the luxury tax in a couple of years, but nonetheless, this will really unlock D'Lo. And as long as he doesn't take these bad mid-range shots that we see him take at times, and he really focuses on just being the primary playmaker, he is going to thrive with a guy like Katz that can pick and pop, and a guy like Gobert who can pick and roll. It's going to be hard to guard. It is going to be hard to guard the pick and pop and pick and roll from these guys. Another thing is Cat gets a more favorable role. Now, Cat was already guarded by the fours for the most part, but on offense, he probably will not have to set as many screens. And another thing I don't see talked about is I could see a situation where Gobert gets the ball at the free throw line and Cat runs off for a handoff for a little 3 or downhill action, because it's going to be hard to guard. What do you want? Do you want the center from Gobert to switch on the Cat? Like, we see Cat and how he absolutely destroys centers in the face-up game, down low, everywhere. He destroys centers. And if you play drop, Cat has good court vision. He makes these flashy passes that are dumb at times, but he has good court vision, and he can find Gobert rolling to the basket after the handoff. And if he does take a bad shot, if that center is on Cat, that gives Gobert the best offensive rebounder in the game, or at least one of the best offensive rebounders in the game, to have a free shot at a offensive rebound and put back dunk. It's going to be very hard to guard, I feel like, if you see Gobert at the free throw line and Cat coming off it. Cat can score at all 3 levels. That drop coverage, I think Cat will float it right over, or he will bulldoze to the basket. He's a physical player. He gets a little too physical and gets offensive fouls, but if you can clean that up, he's a physical player. He can get to the basket or float it, pass it. He can do it all on offense. But with all that said, this team still relies on the progression of Anthony Edwards. Edwards are going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I don't think him and Gobert will have much of a pick and roll game, just because Ant's focus all downhill, and obviously Gobert is not doing anything besides rolling to the basket. And I think teams will just be able to drop and pretty much sit the paint on them. And this is where the progression involves. If Anthony Edwards can get a reliable mid-range pull-up, he will have to be trapped on every pick and roll which just comes down to he's going to have to learn how to make the pocket passes, which I think D'Angelo Russell will help him with. The pocket passes, the lob passes. Like I said, the lobs are a whole new element, of this Timberwolves offense. So if he gets a reliable mid-range jump shot, the only thing they'll have to do with Anthony Edwards is trap him. And as we know, with two guys on, there's someone open. And it's going to be hard to guard. And I see all these comparisons about the, far back with DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, and all these type of things where it's went well, whatever. And they talk about how big guys in the NBA has not worked in a long time. But may I remind you, 2 calendar years ago, we saw a team that started 6'11" Anthony Davis and 7-foot Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee. They both played like 15, 20 minutes a game in the playoffs. And I know it's a bubble, but people just seem to forget that. They won a championship that way. So, and again, we don't have neither Cat or Gobert are as well-rounded as Anthony Davis was, but Karl Towns, it is fair to say that he is on par offensively than 2020 Anthony Davis was. And Gobert is just a better defender than at least at least Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Now, you can say Anthony Davis is more versatile, sure, but at protecting the rim, I would take Gobert over Anthony Davis protecting the rim as well. So this dynamic can work. And of course, you don't have LeBron on the team, but this is where Anthony Davis steps up. We have an all-star caliber point guard in D'Angelo Russell, and we have nice depth. I mean, we have perimeter defenders that the Lakers did not have in Anderson, McDaniels, and Prince. And we have 2 backup guards. Jalen Noel, expect a big year from him. He's going to get consistent minutes, and he should just be an efficient scorer off the bench, or at the very least, a Reggie Jackson, Jordan Clarkson-esque scorer off the bench. And Jordan McLaughlin, again, he's going to get more consistent minutes. He's like a Tyus Jones, where he controls the pace, not many turnovers, can get hot at times. So I think overall, this team is a 55-win team, maybe higher, 2nd seed. If we really want to get crazy, 1st seed. And I think the expectation for this team, spending all this money, trading all these picks, and getting rid of guys like Vanderbilt and Beasley, who will replace Beasley with Bryn Forbes, which he won't have to play as much minutes, which, like I said, elevates Jalen Noel. Kessler didn't play for us. Balmoro didn't play for us. Beverly hurts, but I would take Gobert over Beverly and Vanderbilt. That's pretty easy to say, I think. And the picks, if the Timberwolves get back to relevancy, make a conference finals, get to the playoffs 4 years in a row, and heck, I mean, what if they won an NBA finals? Who knows? But at least make conference finals, get to the playoffs 4 years ago, I'll throw away the picks. Because at the end of this Gobert contract, Anthony Edwards will only be 24. McDaniels will be 25. They still got a group of guys to go. And yeah, I think this is a very, very promising trade and start of a new regime with that new front office in Minnesota.